Welcome to Anshika IAS Academy. We will study lesson number 10 of Tamilnadu Board History. 11th HARSHVARDHANA 606 to 64780. These are five main topics that we cover. First, sources for the study of Harsa, the early life of Harsa, the military activities of Harsa, Harsa's contribution to Buddhism, or Nalanda University. The decline of the Gupta Empire was followed by a period of political disorder and disunity in northern India. It was only in the beginning of the 7th century AD that Harshvardhana succeeded in establishing a larger kingdom in North India. The chief source for tracing the history of Harsha and his times are the Harsarita written by Banbhatta and the travel account of Wensang. Bana was the court poet of Harsha. Wensang was a Chinese traveler who visited India in the 7th century AD. Besides these two sources, the dramas written by Harsha, namely Ratnavali, Nagananda and Priyadarshika, also provide useful information. The Madhuban plate inscription and the Sonpat inscriptions are also helpful to know the chronology of Harsha. The Banaskhera inscription contains the signature of Harsha. Early life of Harsha. The founder of the family of Harsha was Pushyabhuti. Pushyabhutis were the feudatories of Guptas. They called themselves Vardhanas. After the Hun invasion, they assumed independence. The first important king of Pushyabhuti dynasty was Prabhakar Vardhana. His capital was Thaneshwar, north of Delhi. He assumed the title Maharaja Dhiraj in Prabhatakara. After Prabhakar Vardhana's death, his elder son Rajyavardhana came to the throne. He had faced problems right from the time of his accession. His sister Rajeshri had married the Mokhri ruler called Grahavarman, the ruler of Malwa, Devgupta, in league with this Shashank. The ruler of Bengal had killed Grahavarman. Immediately on hearing this news, Rajyavardhan marched against the king of Malwa and routed his army. But before he could return to his capital, he was treacherously murdered by Shashanka. In the meantime, Rajeshri escaped into forest. Harsha now succeeded his brother at Thaneshwar. His first responsibility was to rescue his sister and to avenge the killings of his brother and brother-in-law. He first rescued his sister when he was about to immolate herself. Harsha's military conquest. In his first expedition, Harsha drove out Shashanka from Kannauj. He made Kannauj his new capital. This made him the most powerful ruler of North India. Harsha fought against Dhurvasena II of Vallabhi and defeated him. Dhurvasena II became a vassal. The most important military campaign of Harsha was against the Western Chalukyan ruler Pulakeshin II. Both the account of Wensang and the inscription of Pulakeshin II provides the details of his campaign. Details of this campaign. Harsha, with an ambition to extend his kingdom south of the Narmada river, marched against the Chalukya ruler, but a whole inscription of Pulakeshin II mentioned that the defeat of Harsha by Pulakeshin, who after this achievement assumed the title Parmeshwara. Wensang's account also confirmed the victory of Pulakeshin. Harsha led another campaign against the ruler of Sindhi, which was an independent kingdom, but it is doubtful whether his Sindh campaign was a successful one. Nepal had accepted Harsha's overlordship. Harsha established his control over Kashmir and its ruler sent tribute to him. He also maintained cordial relations with Bhaskar Varman, the ruler of Assam. Harsha's last military campaign was against the kingdom of Kalinga in Orissa, and it was a success. Thus, Harsha established his hold over the whole of North India. The regions modern Rajasthan, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Orissa were under his direct control, but his sphere of influence was much more extensive. The peripheral states such as Kashmir, Sindh, Vallabhi and Kamarub acknowledged his sovereignty. Harsha and Buddhism. In his early life, Harsha was a devotee of Shiva, but later he became an ardent Hinayana Buddhist. Wensang converted him to Mahayan Buddhism. Harsha prohibited the use of animal food in his kingdom and punished those who kill any living being. He erected thousands of stupas and established trailers reis all over his kingdom. He also erected monasteries at the secret places of Buddhists. Once in 5 years, he convened a gathering of representatives of all religions and honored them with gifts and costly presents. He brought the Buddhist monks together frequently to discuss and examine the Buddhist doctrine. Kannauj Assembly Harsa organized a religious assembly at Kannauj to honor the Chinese pilgrim Wensang. Towards the close of his reign, he invited representatives of all religious sects. It was attended by 20 kings, 100 scholars from the Nalanda University, 3,000 and Mahayanists, 3,000 Brahmins and Jains. The assembly went on continuously for 23 days. Wensang explained the values of Mayan doctrine and established its superiority over others. However, violence broke out and there were acts of arson. There was also an attempt on the life of Harsa. Soon it was brought under control and the guilty were punished. On the final day of the assembly, Wensang was honored with costly presents. Allahabad Conference. Wensang mentioned in his account about the conference held at Allahabad known as Prayag. It was one among the conferences routinely convened by Harsa once in 5 years. Harsa gave away his enormous wealth as gifts to the members of all religious sects. According to Wensang, Harsa was too lavish that he emptied the treasury and even gave away the clothes and jewels he was wearing. His statement might be one of admiring exaggeration. Harsa's administration. The administration of Harsa was organized on the same lines as the Guptas did. Wensang gives a detailed picture about this. The king was just in his administration and punctual in discharging his duties. He made frequent visits of inspection throughout his dominion. The day was too short for him. Taxation was also light and forced labor was also rare. 1/6 of the produce was collected as land tax. Cruel punishments of the Mauryan period continued in the times of Harsa. Wensang condemned the trials as barbarous and superstitious. Harsa's army consisted of traditional 4 divisions: foot, horse, chariot, and elephant. The number of cavalry was more than 1 lakh and the elephants more than 6,000. This was much more than that of the Mauryan army. The maintenance of public records was the silent feature of the Harsa's administration. The archive of the Harsa period was known as Nilopitu and it was under the control of special officers. Both good and bad events happened during his time had been recorded. Society and economy under Harsa. Both Bana and Wensang portray the social life in the times of Harsa. The four divisions of the society, Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra was prevalent. The Brahmins were the privileged sections of society and they were given land grants by the kings. The Kshatriyas were the ruling class. The Vaishyas were mainly traders. Wensang mentions that the Shudras practiced agriculture. There existed many subcastes. The position of women was not satisfactory. The institution of Swayamvara, the choice of choosing her husband, has declined. Remarriage of widows was not permitted, particularly among the higher caste. The system of dowry had also become common. The practice of sati was also prevalent. Wensang mentioned 3 ways of disposal of the dead: cremation, water burial, and exposure in the woods. The trade and commerce had declined during Harsa's period. This is evident from the decline of trade route centers, less number of coins, and slow activities of merchant guilds, and the decline of trade in turn affected the handicraft industry and agriculture. Since there was no large-scale demand for goods and farmers began to produce only a limited way, this led to the rise of self-sufficient village economy. In short, there was a sharp economic decline as compared to the economy of the Gupta period. Central cultural progress. The art and architecture of Harsa's period are very few and mostly followed the Gupta style. Wensang described the glory of the monastery with many storied built by Harsha at Nalanda. He also speaks of a copper statue of Buddha with 8 feet in height. 8 feet in height. The brick temple of Lakshmana at Sirpur. The brick temple of Lakshmana at Sirpur. With its rich architecture. Is assigned to the period of Harsha. The brick temple of Lakshmana at Sirpur with its rich architecture is assigned to the period of Harsha. Harsha was a great patron of learning. His biographer Banabhatta adorned his royal court. Besides her Saritra. He wrote Kadambari. Other literary figures in Harsha's court were Matanga, Devakara, and the famous Bhartahari, who was the poet, philosopher, and grammarian. Harsha himself authored 3 plays, Ratnavali, Priyadarshika, and Nagananda. Harsha patronized Nalanda University by his liberal endowments. It attained an international reputation as a center of learning during his time. Wensang visited the Nalanda University and remained as a student for some time. Nalanda University. The Chinese scholars of ancient India mentioned a number of educational institutions. The most famous among them were the Himyan University of Vallabhi and Mahayan University of Nalanda. Wensang gives a very valuable account of the Nalanda University. The term Nalanda means giver of knowledge. It was founded by Kumargupta first during the Gupta period. It was patronized by his successor and later by Harsha. The professors of university were called Pandits, Panditas. Some of its renowned professors were Dignaga, Dharampala, Stramati, and Sila Vadra. Dharampala was a native of Kanchipuram and he became the head of the Nalanda University. Nalanda University was a residential university and education was free, including the boarding and lodging. He was maintained with the revenue derived from 100 to 200 villages endowed by different rulers. So it was a Mayan university. Different religious subjects like the Vedas, Indian doctrine, Sankhya, and Yoga philosophies were also taught. In addition to that, general subjects like logic, grammar, astronomy, medicine, and art were in the syllabus. It attracted students not only from different parts of India but from different countries of the East. Admission was made by means of an entrance examination. The entrance test was difficult that not more than 30% of candidates were successful. Discipline was very strict. More than lectures, discussion played an important part, and the medium of instruction was Sanskrit. Recent archaeological excavations have brought to light the ruins of the Nalanda University, shows the grandeur of this center of learning and confirms the account given by the Chinese pilgrimage. It had numerous classrooms and a hostel attached to it. According to the Chinese pilgrim, there were 3,000 students on its rolls. It had an observatory and a great library housed in 3 buildings. Its fame raised on the face that it attracted scholars from various parts of the world. It was an institution of advanced learning and research. After learning, the sources for the study of Harsha such as Harsarita and the travel accounts of Wensang, Harsha's early life and his military adventures, Harsha and his services to Buddhism like the Kannauj Assembly and Allahabad Conference, socio-economic conditions and cultural development under the rule of Harsha, the Nalanda University and its international reputation. Thanks for watching.